Good afternoon, nerd friends. Welcome back to the Nerd Bench. New stuff day. New items got announced in the Hobbywing lineup. The Max 6 G2 is here, along with two new motors. The 4990 is a 1650 kV. The 5690 is a 1250 kV. These are 8S rated motors that will be paired with the EZRun Max 6 G2. We're going to try to cover some of the basics of these. These are, as usual, on announcement day, pre-production samples that I received just to make this video and show folks that these do exist, and they will be available very soon. If you are familiar with the Hobbywing motor lineup, you know that the motor numbers stand for the diameter and length. 5690 means this is a 56 millimeter diameter by a 90 millimeter length. This guy is a 49 millimeter diameter by a 90 millimeter length. So these are the motors that are suited for more of the 8S only rated vehicles, 6 scales, 7 scales, the stuff like that that needs a little bit more size-friendly motor than like one of these monsters. Like, look, I mean, that's too big for a lot of the vehicles. So now we have some 8S options for that. And we also have the Max 6 G2. We're going to get into all that later, but let's cover the motors first. Big difference between these guys is the motor shaft. The 5690 has the larger 8 millimeter shaft. This guy has the normal, or more normal, I guess you'd say, 5 millimeter shaft. KVs are a little bit different as well. If you did not know, KV is the RPM rating of the motor. You take that number and you multiply it by your nominal pack voltage, and it'll give you a rough estimate of the RPM that the motor is going to do. People often send us emails and say, hey, what's the horsepower rating on these? What's the max current that it's going to draw? Stuff like that. The problem with those types of specs are they come up with spec wars. So we don't go out of our way to post numbers that other manufacturers can say ours is whatever percent better than theirs are, or they make up a spec, or they measure it under conditions. So there's no like ASE certification for numbers like that, and power and RPM and max load and max amp draw and things like that all really depend on the application that it's being used for. And I know it sounds silly, but it's just not a number that's super, I guess you'd say, helpful or accurate for a lot of the applications, because it depends on how they get tested is my short answer on that. So if you're looking for that information, if we don't have it posted on the website or with the the motor specs, if you will, it's not going to be something that we have available. We only have what we have for the most part. So these do have very large, oversized bearings in them. The 4990 has two exactly the same size bearings, a 19 by 6 by 6 bearing front and rear. The 5690, the front bearing is going to be a 22 by 8 by 7, and the rear bearing is going to be a 19 by 8 by 6. Why do I say that? Because people ask us all the time what size bearings are in this, and we use huge, giganto bearings. These are both set up for our Hobbywing waterproof sensor harness system, as you would imagine, and they have very large bullet plugs on them. Let me get my calipers out. I want to say these are 6.5 millimeters, but I'm always wrong until I put a caliper on. The bullet plugs on the motors are 6.5 millimeters, just like we used in the past with our 8S system. So that is a quick look at the 4990 1650 kV motor and the 5690 1250 kV motor. Put those guys off to the side over here, and we'll take a look and get into the Max 6 G2. Now, first and foremost, the Bluetooth is now built in. You don't need any external programmers from Hobbywing. It comes with the Bluetooth built right into it, so you can link this up to your Hobbywing Link V2 app in your favorite smart device, tablet, whatever the case may be, and you can do speed control tuning. You can read the data logs. It does graphing as well, so you'll be able to see your full runs, all saved into the speed control itself. So very, very cool. Obviously, it has the same size motor bullet plug, 6.5 millimeters, and it uses the very large power gauge, the very large 10 gauge power wire on the speed control itself. Size-wise, we'll hold this up next to a Max 5. You get an idea here. It almost looks small next to a Max 5, doesn't it? You see, much smaller footprint, going to fit in a lot more of the vehicles. And this guy is rated for 3 to 8S. We'll throw the calipers on it because everybody wants to know how big these guys are. You got about 56.5 that direction. Their height is going to be right around 40, we'll call that 46 for wiggle room. And then long ways, you're looking at, let's get this on here, give or take 70 millimeters. We'll do it all in standard for us non-metrics. 2 3/4 that way. About just under 2 1/4 that way. And just over 1 3/4 that way. So Gives you an idea on the sizes. It does have that single button switch because everything is built in, if you will. The speed control has a 8 amp standard rated BC that goes up to 25 amp surges, and it does 6 volts, 7.4, as well as 8.4 volt output. Max 6 G2 has the smart fan, so the fan will only run when the speed control needs it to run. It's basically a temperature sensing fan. When you first turn it on, the fan burps on for just a moment, then shuts off. That's totally normal. That's how all of the new Hobbywing speed controls that have the temp sensing fans work. So if you have one of those, have no fear. As I mentioned, the Bluetooth is built in. This does work with your HW Link V2 app on your favorite smart device, and you'll be able to adjust all the settings that are in there. It has 12 different settings available. You know, the standard stuff that a Max series has, if you will. Running mode, the number of lipo cells. You can adjust your cutoff between low, medium, and high for different levels of cutoff. Motor rotation, you'll be able to change that. Obviously, sensor systems need that. BEC voltage, like I said before, 6, 7, or 8 volt settings at 6.0, 7.4, or 8.4. Got to be kind of accurate there. Then you have your max brake force, your max reverse force, your punch setting, oh so important for fine-tuning throttle delivery. Drag brake force, your initial throttle force, which is the startup, and then you have turbo settings for the turbo timing and the turbo delay. This guy has up to 24 degrees of turbo timing available. We always get asked, combos, are these going to be available in combos? Yes, of course they are. You'll be able to get the Max 6 G2 with either the 4990 or the 5690 motors. And like I said before, this is a 1650 and this is a 1250 kV rating. That's your basic RPM range. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns about these guys, send us an email, northamerica@hobbywing.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with your answers. There is a link in the description down below that'll take you to the official product pages for all this, so you can get the hard information in writing if you need to, and find out when the pre-order starts, maybe get your pre-order going, all that information that we're all so keen on. Don't forget, we also have a podcast. It's called RC Stuff, powered by Hobbywing. You can look that up on your favorite podcast service and find out how to enter to win. We give away a free Hobbywing system each and every episode, and they go new episodes on the first and third Friday of the month. And as always, folks, thanks for tuning in. Another episode of The Charlie Show right here on the Hobbywing official YouTube channel. We will see you all next time.